The content of this podcast is based on medical fact and evidence-based practice from credible authoritative sources, but is not a substitute for your institution's policies, procedures, common sense, or good judgment. The views and opinions are those of Eric Bauer and FlightBridgeED in their entirety. This is the FlightBridgeED Podcast, critical care and emergency medicine education for nurses and paramedics. Here's your host, Eric Bauer.
Hey everybody, this is Eric. I just want to introduce FlightBridgeED. We started FlightBridgeED about 2.5 years ago, and we did an introduction podcast back then. We've really come a long way. We've surpassed any expectations that I ever had for the company, and now we're starting to see downloads exceed 500,000, and we've got listeners now in 42 countries. So I know we're getting a lot of new listeners. I get emails and feedback from friends all over the country that we have listeners everywhere, and that's just amazing to me. So I wanted to take a few minutes. I had just traveled to Denver. I was traveling back. I listened to the introduction podcast, and I thought, I probably should re-record this and just get a better audio quality introduction podcast out there and explain kind of what the company has become. For those of you that have been a partner with us since the inception, you understand that we have grown very, very quickly. We started out just doing podcasts, and for those of you that are new, there's approximately 60 critical care level podcasts that are basically mainstream critical care. I take anywhere from 5 minutes all the way up to 45 minutes in some of the podcasts, and I explain, critical care concepts, hopefully in a very easy to follow manner, to help you prepare, help you gain knowledge, where you can move from the ER, from the ICU, or from the ground if you're a paramedic, into the flight realm. Or if you're a critical care provider and you just want to continually brush up and you're happy with the ground, you're happy with your hospital positions, that's great. I know we have doctors that listen. I know we have nurse practitioners and PAs that listen, and that's also great. So anything that you can take from the podcast, I hope you enjoy it. Like I said, there's approximately 60 at this point. We've grown very, very rapidly. Check out the website. We've got multiple study aids, materials. We've got a few books we've published that have done very, very well. They kind of go with our Advanced Certification Review podcast, our Advanced Certification Review course, and that we provide around the country. So check out the different dates. Always feel free to email me. For those of you that listen, you know that I respond back very, very quickly, and I love to converse and to collaborate with people all around the world, and I really feel like I've grown exponentially in the last 2.5 years because of that. So I just want to say thank you. I want to just introduce myself, the company, for those of you that are new and that are starting to listen to these podcasts just now. I also want to just point out audio quality that you hear in the very beginning of FlightBridgeED is just based on my lack of knowledge. I was teaching myself everything as regards to software, the microphones, and things like that. And, as you build your knowledge and things like that, you start understanding that, hey, this is subpar. So we have definitely invested a lot of money in the last 6 months in, radio studio quality equipment, microphones, amplifiers, and things like that. And I think that's why you've seen a huge, or hopefully heard a huge difference in the audio quality. The very beginning of the year, there was some background echoing and things like that, and that was because we had built a house and it's got real high ceilings, and that's kind of what forced me to invest in the money. So we didn't have that. So hopefully you've enjoyed the new audio quality. For those of you that are new and you're listening to the older versions of the older podcasts, I am going to try to re-record some of those, and hopefully, again, that's a time issue. So anytime you have any questions, feel free to always email me. My email is eric.bauer@flightbridgeed.com. Check out the website, which is www.flightbridgeed.com. Remember, we have a YouTube channel. We've got a whole bunch of free education for you on a daily basis. So just join us, collaborate with us, partner with us, and share our podcast with a friend. And I really appreciate everybody, all the listeners, and I look forward to talking to you and meeting you soon. Thanks.
This has been a production of the FlightBridgeED Podcast, leading the way in pre-hospital critical care and emergency medicine education.